Have you ever felt like something sacred was on its way to you, like the universe had written your name on a package of miracles, but the delivery just kept getting delayed? Like your soul knew something big was coming, but life kept making you wait for it. Chosen one, if that feeling has lived inside you like a whisper in the dark, you're not alone. You were right to feel it. And what if I told you, this is it? Your spiritual delivery has arrived. Wealth, purpose, power, and not the kind the world can offer you, but the kind your soul remembers, the kind that was promised to you before you were ever born. Take a breath. This is not an ordinary moment. This is sacred timing. This isn't just another video in a sea of noise. It's a door, and you're standing right in front of it. What you do next will echo far beyond this hour. You see, the world will never tell you this, but heaven pressed pause just for you. Everything around you went still because your soul needed this, right now. The veil is thin, and the atmosphere around you is shifting, because what you're about to hear isn't information, it's revelation. It's the moment that reminds you why you've felt different your whole life, why nothing ever fully made sense, why you've been carrying a weight that didn't belong to anyone else around you. That weight, that longing, that ache in your chest you could never explain. It wasn't depression, it wasn't failure, it was divine memory, the remembering of something holy you came here to reclaim. Let me say this clearly. You didn't find this video. This message found you. That's how it works with divine timing. When it's time, what's meant for you doesn't knock, it enters. You were called here, not by accident, but by alignment. And I'm going to say something now that your spirit has known all along. You've been hidden, not forgotten. You've been broken, but not destroyed. Every crack in your life was just a doorway for the light to enter. And if you walk away now, if you scroll away, you may miss the moment your soul has cried out for in silence, in dreams, in long nights where no one else heard the weeping but heaven. Many are called, but only a few are chosen. Don't make the mistake of stepping away from what your spirit begged God to show you. Not after all the years of waiting, not after all the tears you cried that nobody understood. You are not here by chance. This isn't a coincidence. This is your confirmation, that thing you've been sensing. This is it. The delivery you didn't know how to ask for, but deeply needed, is right here. Breathe with me now. This is your arrival moment. Comment 333, 444 777 or 999 right now, whatever number your soul feels drawn to, just to mark that you were spiritually present in this moment, that you answered the call, that you received the message the universe tried to get to you so many times before, but life kept distracting you from it. Not this time. This time you stayed. This time you're ready, and you're not alone anymore. Right now, your angels are drawing close. There is a presence in the room that's been waiting for you to stop running. You've been searching, but this was sent to search for you. So many chosen ones carry pain like armor. They've walked through storms alone, not knowing they were being trained. You've felt that. You've lived it. And I'm here to tell you, it wasn't for nothing. There is a delivery being made right now to your soul. Wealth, but not just money. Abundance in vision, clarity, and calling. Purpose, not as a job, but as your very reason for breathing. Power, not control, but divine alignment that cannot be shaken. You feel it, don't you? That pull in your chest, that deep, quiet voice saying, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Let this be the moment you honor yourself. Let this be the moment you stop hiding from your own brilliance. Let this be the moment you stop calling your intuition crazy. Let this be the moment you remember what was always yours. The wealth is coming. The purpose is unfolding. The power is awakening. But first, you had to remember you were chosen. Subscribe now and hit the bell. not just to stay connected to this channel, but to stay connected to the unfolding messages your soul has been waiting for. Because when life gets heavy, this space will be here, a resting place, a return to self, a sacred ground where your spirit can breathe again. You've waited long enough. The ache has spoken long enough. It's time, and what comes next will remind you why you were chosen. There's a reason you've always felt that something was on its way to you. Something invisible but powerful, a moment, a message, a shift so profound it would explain everything. You didn't know what to call it, but it kept whispering through your life like a promise never fully spoken. You could feel it in the stillness, in the ache between moments. You could feel it when others told you to just be grateful for what you had, but your soul kept reaching for something more. That more wasn't greed. It wasn't ego. It was remembrance. Your spirit has always known something was destined to arrive. A divine delivery, a moment of unlocking. And this is that moment. You see, the world conditioned you to believe that what you felt was wrong, that your hunger for meaning was unrealistic, that your sensitivity was weakness, that your longing for something greater was a distraction from what was real. But what if I told you, what you've been sensing all this time was the most real thing about you? Chosen one, you were never meant to settle into the noise. You were never made to conform to the numbness. That feeling you couldn't name was the arrival your soul remembered long before your mind could understand it. You've been waiting, and now the waiting is over. The spiritual delivery your soul ordered before you came here has reached your door. This arrival isn't something outside of you. It's the you that's been trying to emerge. That's why nothing felt quite right. That's why no amount of success or relationships or achievements could satisfy you. Because what was arriving was you, the real you, the powerful, aligned, divinely aware version of you. And now that version is knocking, softly but firmly, saying, "Let me in. Breathe with me now." Close your eyes for a second and feel into that place in your chest, the place where your deepest longing lives. That pulse you've tried to silence, but never could. That pulse is proof that something sacred has been making its way to you all this time. It's not an external reward. It's not just money or recognition. It's remembrance. It's alignment. It's the reunion between your human self and your divine assignment. And the moment of that reunion is now. Let me show you something. Look back over your life, not with shame, not with judgment, but with reverence. Can you see the breadcrumbs? The moments you didn't understand that now make sense. The delay that was actually protection. The relationship that ended and made room for your rebirth. The breakdown that forced you to finally feel your soul again. Every single moment was part of the delivery route. You thought things were being taken from you, but actually, they were being cleared to make space. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. And what were you being prepared for? For this clarity, for this embodiment, for this level of power that isn't loud, but eternal. The kind of power that doesn't come from forcing anything. It comes from finally remembering that you don't have to chase what's already inside you. This arrival isn't a prize you earn. It's a truth you allow. And that's what makes it so holy. It can't be taken from you. It can't be stolen. Because it's not from this world. It's from your soul's blueprint, your wealth, your purpose, your power. They're not arriving from the outside. They're being activated from within, and they couldn't fully activate until now because you weren't fully ready, but you are now. And you know how I know? Because you stayed, because you listened, because some part of you recognized this moment before it was even spoken aloud. That's how the divine works. It speaks in echoes before it speaks in language. You've always felt different. That difference was the evidence. You were never meant to blend in. You were always meant to light up the dark, but to do that, you had to be emptied, stripped, brought low enough to hear your own soul again. And now that you're here, you can feel the turn, the shift, the breath between lifetimes that says, something new is arriving. This chapter of your life is about receiving. No more striving, no more proving, just allowing, just breathing, just stepping fully into what has already been yours. Chosen one, this is your homecoming. And even though it may look quiet on the outside, spiritually you're surrounded, supported, backed by a force that doesn't fail, because heaven delivers on its promises. Even if they arrive late by the world's standards, they always arrive on time by divine standards. So now I ask you, are you ready to answer the knock? Not with fear, but with fire. Not with hesitation, but with holy certainty. This is the moment you stop waiting and start receiving, because your spiritual delivery has arrived. And it's not a box of blessings wrapped in glitter. It's your own soul, finally unwrapped, finally seen, finally walking into everything it always knew was coming. Feel it now. Breathe into it. You are not late. You are not lost. You are right on time. And everything is here. Wealth, purpose, power, not as ideas, but as embodied truth. Not as goals, but as your natural state. Welcome home. The arrival your soul always felt is now your reality. And it begins here. From the very beginning, there was something different about you. Before the world had time to name you, label you, or teach you who to be, your soul had already signed something sacred, a covenant, an assignment, a quiet promise between heaven and earth. And though no one else may have seen it, it was written into your very being. The way you looked at the world with wonder, others didn't understand. The way you cried at things others brushed off, the way you saw meaning in places others missed completely, that wasn't you being weak. That was your soul showing early signs of spiritual memory. Even as a child, you knew too much, not with words, but with knowing. You'd enter a room and feel what wasn't being said. You'd sense people's pain before they spoke a word. You'd stare out windows, not because you were distracted, but because your spirit was in two places at once, here and somewhere higher. You always felt something was watching over you, guiding you, pulling you. And even when people told you to snap out of it, to stop being so sensitive, to toughen up, you couldn't. Because that's not who you were designed to be. You were never made to be hard. You were made to be holy. Chosen one you already know. You've always known, but the world tried to make you forget. School systems tried to box your spirit into rows and grades. Family members tried to toughen you into silence. Friends didn't know what to do with your depth. So you began to hide. You began to edit yourself. You began to shrink to fit their comfort. But deep down, the ache remained. That ache was the echo of your soul whispering, "This isn't who we are." It was the divine signature burning behind the masks. Let me show you how sacred your path has been, even when you didn't know you were walking it. Every time you were misunderstood, a new layer of truth was revealed. Every time you were rejected, a new door to self was opened. Every tear you cried in secret watered a seed the world never saw. That seed is blooming now. That child who felt too much is not broken. They were chosen to carry spiritual weight early because their mission would require that level of emotional strength. You were training in silence. You were becoming in private. And every time you didn't fit in, it was confirmation that you weren't meant to. Think back. When did you first feel the separation? When did the magic in you begin to feel like a burden? Was it when you were told to stop imagining so much? Was it when your deep questions were dismissed? Was it when your inner world grew louder than the world outside? That wasn't you being confused. That was your soul remembering something it couldn't yet speak. And now, in this moment, you are being invited to speak it again, to open the sealed letter within you and read what was written long ago. There's a part of you that was never touched by pain, never stained by trauma, never dulled by disappointment. That part is still glowing, still whole, still radiant, and it's calling you home. The world may have tried to erase it, but the signature remains, and every strange encounter, every vivid dream, every moment you felt like you were watching life from the outside, those were sacred nudges, the divine reminding you that your contract is still active. Breathe with me now, not just for oxygen, but for remembering. Inhale the truth that you are not behind. Exhale the lie that you were ever too much. You were made for this moment. Everything in your story has been echoing toward now, toward a time when you would stop trying to be normal and finally rise as the extraordinary being you were always signed to be. It's no coincidence that you're still standing after all you've been through. Most would have given up. Many did. But something in you kept breathing, kept rising, kept believing. Even when you didn't know what you were believing in, the ember stayed lit. That ember was your contract burning under the surface, waiting for this exact season to burst into flame. I want you to know that your past was not a mistake. The path you took was not random. The shame you carried wasn't even yours. It was the weight of collective misunderstanding pressed onto a soul, born to see beyond it. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to shine in places others never thought light could exist. And the world's confusion was never your burden to carry. It was their mirror to face. So now I ask you, what would happen if you stopped pretending you didn't know? What would shift if you let that child in you speak again? The one who used to feel everything. The one who used to dream wildly. The one who believed in angels and miracles and whispers from beyond. That child wasn't naive. That child was wise, wiser than many adults you've met. That child wasn't lost. They were waiting for you to come back and get them. This chapter of your awakening is about reunion. Reuniting with every part of you that you had to leave behind to survive. But now, you don't need to survive anymore. Now, you get to live. Fully, divinely, authentically. You get to carry the original signature into every room you enter. You get to speak from your knowing. You get to stop apologizing for the power you hold. And most of all, you get to remember what the world tried to make you forget. You were born marked. You were born chosen. No one can take that from you. No mistake can undo it. No delay can erase it. No person's opinion can silence it. Because it was written into your essence before time. And time is now catching up to the truth of who you've always been. So feel it, receive it, declare it, silently or aloud. The signature is still in me. And I remember now. This is your return. This is your reclaiming. And this time, no one is going to make you shrink again. The signature is glowing. The child is rising. The soul is leading. And your time has finally begun. There's a heavy sorrow that visits the chosen ones in midlife. It's the sorrow of looking back and wondering if they missed it, missed the sign, missed the door, missed the moment when everything was supposed to begin. It sneaks in like a whisper after years of silence and asks, was it too late? But chosen one, breathe with me now and hear this truth. Time has not been wasted. Time has been weaving you. The world taught you to measure your worth in milestones, in titles, in trophies, in how far ahead you are compared to others. But your soul was never following the world's clock. Your soul was following divine rhythm. And divine timing is not interested in early success. It's interested in eternal alignment. That's why some doors didn't open when you knocked. That's why some prayers felt like they vanished into nothing. That's why you felt forgotten when others were moving ahead. You weren't being denied. You were being deeply prepared. You see, the divine does not rush sacred things. A tree that bears fruit too soon cannot hold the weight. A building without a foundation will crumble under the storm. And you, chosen one, have been in the most sacred construction zone there is. Unseen, underground, becoming. That's why the past few years may have felt like wandering, like delay, like being passed over. But what was really happening was a deeper building, the kind no one could see. But heaven never lost track of you, not even once. Carl Jung said, life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. And for you, that research was holy. It came through heartbreaks that shattered your illusions. It came through jobs that drained your soul until you realized you were born for more. It came through relationships that mirrored your wounds until you could no longer look away. You weren't failing. You were gathering keys. Keys that would unlock others one day. Keys that would unlock you. Let me show you what most people miss. Midlife is not a crisis. It's a crossing, a sacred bridge between who you thought you had to be and who your soul came here to become. It's the undoing of false timelines, the unlearning of lies that told you you're late. You're not late. You're right on the threshold, and the reason you feel so much pressure is not because you're falling behind. It's because your spirit knows you're about to step into something massive. Pause and feel that for a moment, that quiet readiness humming in the background, that urge to release what's no longer aligned, that subtle grief for all the time you thought you lost. It's not your enemy. It's your signal, the signal that the inner layers have been peeled back, and now your soul is standing without disguise, ready to move differently, to lead, not follow, to listen inward, not outward, to rise, not for show, but for truth. It's okay to grieve the time that didn't go how you planned. It's okay to wish you had awakened sooner. But don't let that grief lie to you. Don't let it tell you the story is over. Your story is just now becoming sacred. The detours were divine. The delays were essential. The pain was alchemy. And the you that is here now, the one listening, the one remembering, is more equipped, more refined, more dangerous to the darkness than you've ever been before. You were not made for speed. You were made for depth. You were not called to peak early. You were called to rise when others retire, because your strength was never in youth. It was in wisdom, in experience, in knowing what it means to walk through fire and still carry light in your eyes. That is a power only time can give. And now, you have it. So let go of the timelines, let go of the comparison, let go of the idea that purpose had to look a certain way by a certain age. Chosen one, your journey was never about what you could do quickly. It was always about what you could become deeply. And deep things take time, beautiful things take time, eternal things take time. And you, above all else, are eternal. Look again at your past, not as a chain, but as a thread. A golden thread that has been quietly stitching a masterpiece. Every loss, a loop. Every lesson, a stitch. Every delay, a turn in the thread. And now the pattern is emerging. What once felt random is now being revealed as sacred. What once felt wasted is now shining as wisdom. You didn't miss it. You lived it. Declare this with me. My time has not been wasted. It has been weaving me into something holy. Feel how your spirit rises as you say it, because something in you has always known this, even in the moments of despair, even in the years of silence. You knew, you just needed the reminder. And this is your reminder. There is no deadline on your destiny. There is no expiration on your calling. Your purpose doesn't grow old. It grows deeper. And now it's ready to emerge, not rushed, not forced, but remembered. So walk into this next chapter, not as someone who's late, but as someone who is right on time for their divine arrival. And trust that heaven never forgets the ones it prepares in secret. Trust that what's been woven in the dark will shine in the light. The world may not understand why you're just now beginning, but your soul knows. Because your soul doesn't measure in years, it measures in readiness. And chosen one, you are ready now, ready to rise, ready to lead, ready to receive what was always meant for you. You were never off path. You were being woven, and now that the weaving is done, it's time to walk. There's a kind of silence that doesn't just fill a room, it surrounds your life. A long stretch of unanswered prayers, an invisible fog that keeps the next step hidden. A season where everything feels still, but not peaceful. That silence has a name, and it isn't punishment. It's preparation. Chosen one, you've been in the waiting room of the divine. And though it felt like delay, it was actually sanctuary. You see, before every great unfolding, there is a hidden season, a time when the noise fades, the doors close, the people leave, and you are left with only your breath, your questions, and your soul. That season is sacred. The cocoon before the flight, the womb before the birth, the desert before the calling. But no one tells you how holy it is while you're in it. They only see absence. But what looks like absence to the world is actually presence, divine presence, too sacred to be witnessed publicly. You didn't lose your way. You were being cloaked in divine stillness, wrapped in a silence so deep it shook your sense of identity, because what was falling away was everything that could not go with you into the next version of yourself. You thought you were being overlooked, but you were being protected. You thought life left you behind, but the truth is, the noise was removed so you could finally hear your own voice. Breathe with me now. Remember the nights that felt endless. The mornings where your chest felt heavy and your purpose felt far. That wasn't stagnation. That was gestation. Something was forming in you. A new vision. A deeper power. A calling that couldn't be born in public. That kind of transformation requires silence. It requires discomfort. It requires the waiting room. You didn't fail. You were planted, and like the seed buried in the soil, no one clapped for you while you were becoming. No one saw the roots you were growing. But heaven watched it all. Every tear, every sigh, every surrender. You were not abandoned. You were being trusted. Trusted to endure what most would run from. Trusted to stay when all you wanted was to move. Trusted to keep breathing when nothing around you made sense. Chosen one. Silence is the sound of sacred construction. When God is building something massive inside you, the outer world goes quiet. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. And the more hidden the construction, the more glorious the reveal. That's why your life slowed down. That's why doors shut. That's why people couldn't reach you anymore. You weren't isolating. You were incubating. Let me show you the beauty of the womb. It is dark. It is tight. It is full of pressure. But it is also safe. It is where the blueprint gets built. It's where the body forms around the breath of destiny. You were in the womb of divine timing. And now, the contractions are beginning. That tightness you feel, that sudden urge to change everything. That's the soul saying, it's time to push. But before you run into the new, honor the old. Honor the silence that saved you. The long season where you learned to sit with yourself. The quiet days when you heard nothing and still believed. That space forged something in you no spotlight ever could. It taught you stillness. It taught you trust. It taught you how to hear the whisper behind the world. And that is a gift. The desert wasn't empty. It was full of angels. The cocoon wasn't wasted. It was where your wings grew. The waiting room wasn't a pause. It was a portal. And now, as you stand at the threshold of everything new, don't despise where you came from. Don't be ashamed of the years it took, because you weren't just waiting, you were watching, listening, deepening, becoming. It's easy to celebrate the breakthrough, but the waiting room is where the soul is reborn, where faith becomes breath, where destiny starts to whisper. And now you can look back, not with resentment, but with reverence. Because that silence wasn't empty. It was sacred. It held you until you were strong enough to hold your calling. And now, you are. You know who you are now. You've tasted loneliness and didn't die. You've faced confusion and didn't quit. You've walked through darkness and still carry light. That's not weakness. That's spiritual maturity. That's divine readiness. And it only comes through time in the sanctuary of silence. So if you're still in the waiting room, don't rush to escape it. Sit with it. Let it finish what it started. Let the stillness sculpt your soul. Let the quiet reintroduce you to your knowing. And if you've just stepped out of it, breathe in the light, not with fear, but with gratitude, because you now know what many never learn, that divine timing may be slow, but it is never wrong. And when it finally moves, it moves suddenly. Don't be surprised if things begin to shift fast, if new doors appear where there were only walls, if people start recognizing in you what they once overlooked. That's not random, that's revelation. The years of silence now turning into seasons of speed. But you'll move differently now. You'll move with reverence, because you remember what it cost to get here. What comes next will look like acceleration, but it will feel like arrival, like something your soul has been walking toward in the dark for decades, because that's what it was. And now that you've sat in the sanctuary of stillness, you're ready to receive what couldn't come any sooner. The waiting room was never a delay. It was the place where you remembered who you are. It was the fire that purified, the silence that softened, the womb that rewrote your story. And now, the door is opening, and you, chosen one, are walking out whole. There is something about your presence that unsettles people, even when you say nothing at all. You walk into rooms and feel the atmosphere shift. You speak truth without raising your voice, and suddenly, people get uncomfortable, defensive, or even distant. You've spent years wondering what you did wrong. You tried to make yourself smaller, more agreeable, easier to handle. But chosen one, breathe with me now and remember, the light in you stirs what others are trying to bury. You don't trigger people because you're wrong. You trigger people because your presence activates what they're not ready to face. You've likely heard things like, "Why are you so intense?" or "You think too deeply." People may have said you were too emotional, too dramatic, too serious. But what they were really saying was, "You're seeing something I'm not ready to deal with." Your insight, your energy, your knowing, it pierces through illusion. It sees past smiles and hears the pain behind words. That's not something you chose. It's something you were born with, and for many, that feels dangerous. You're not just a person, you're a mirror, and mirrors can be uncomfortable. When someone looks at you and sees your light, your depth, your clarity, it makes them aware of their own darkness, their own confusion, their own avoidance. You didn't do anything to cause it. You just showed up. You were just being yourself. But that's all it takes to awaken discomfort in those who are still sleeping. It's not rejection you've experienced, it's reaction. A reaction to your frequency, a reaction to your calling, a reaction to your essence. You're not meant to be easy for everyone to digest. You weren't made to blend in, to go unnoticed, or to make others feel better about staying small. The truth is, your presence calls people to rise. But not everyone is ready to rise, and so instead, they resist. Breathe again, chosen one. Let that sink in. You have spent too much time trying to tone yourself down, trying to be more acceptable, more pleasing, more palatable. But what if I told you your intensity is your gift? What if the very thing you've been shamed for is the very thing that proves who you are? Your emotional depth isn't a problem, it's a power. Your awareness isn't a burden, it's a light. And your presence isn't too much, it's precise. You've been walking through life absorbing the discomfort of others and turning it into self-blame, but no more. From this moment forward, you stop apologizing for your frequency. You stop shrinking to fit broken spaces. You stop letting others' reactions define your worth. Because their discomfort is not your responsibility. Their triggers are not your truth. Their projections are not your problem. You've had people distance themselves, ghost you, betray you, or dismiss you without warning. And it hurt. But beneath the pain was something sacred. The universe was making room, clearing the field. Because not everyone is meant to walk with you where you're going. Some were only there to show you what your light does, not to celebrate it, but to sharpen it. Chosen one, the path of those who carry light is often lonely, but it is never empty. You are not alone. Others like you are rising, quietly, powerfully. Across the world, those who have been silenced are finding their voice. Those who have been overlooked are stepping into purpose. And those who have been misunderstood are finally being seen. You are part of that wave. A soul wave that doesn't need explanation, only alignment. Let's speak the truth now. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't even need everyone to like you. What you need is to understand yourself, to love yourself, to honor your presence as sacred, even when it goes unrecognized. Because when you stop performing, when you stop adjusting, when you stop apologizing, you become magnetic. Not for the world's approval, but for the people, opportunities and environments that were made to hold you. This chapter of your life is about energetic discernment, knowing when to stay, when to go, and when to say nothing at all, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You've learned that not every space deserves access to your soul. Not every person is equipped to hold what you carry, and that's okay. You're not here to convince, you're here to radiate, to move with clarity, to embody truth. You may have noticed people trying to compete with you without reason, trying to outshine, outdo, or one-up you. That's because they sense something in you they don't yet know how to access in themselves. Don't resent them. Don't waste your energy trying to explain yourself. Just keep shining. The right ones won't be intimidated by your light. They'll be inspired by it. The right ones won't flinch when you speak the truth. They'll lean in to hear more. You don't need to tone it down. You need to turn it up. Your frequency has a job to do. Your presence has an assignment. And part of that assignment is revealing what's hidden. That means some people will run from you. Others will resent you, and a rare few will recognize you. They will see what you are. And when you meet them, it will feel like peace, like home, like breath. So don't curse the isolation, don't question your glow, and don't change your essence to avoid triggering others. You were never meant to be easy. You were meant to be real. Real enough to wake up sleeping hearts, real enough to remind the world what truth sounds like, real enough to stand firm when others fall apart. That's not arrogance, that's calling. That's what it means to be chosen. You will always activate something, wherever you go, and the world will react. But you, chosen one, you will respond, not with fear, not with apology, but with the quiet, unshakable certainty that you are here to shine, whether they understand or not, whether they stay or not, whether they can receive you or not. Let them be triggered. Let them feel. Let them leave if they must. Because you're not here to comfort illusions. You're here to deliver truth. You're not here to soften your edges. You're here to sharpen souls. And when you finally stop making yourself smaller, you'll see what's always been true. Your presence was never a problem. It was a prophecy. There's a voice inside you that you used to trust without question, before the world became loud, before people convinced you that you needed proof, before life taught you to second-guess what you already knew. That voice wasn't imagination. It wasn't naivety. It was your compass, your divine guidance system. And chosen one, it's time to reclaim it. You see, the world is designed to pull you away from your knowing. It rewards noise over stillness, certainty over mystery, logic over intuition, but you were never meant to live by logic alone. You were meant to move by presence, to sense what others miss, to feel what others numb. That wasn't just a spiritual gift, it was a survival code, one that was etched into you long before you were born. And it's still there, waiting to be remembered. Somewhere along the way, you stopped trusting it. Maybe you were told to be realistic. Maybe you followed it once and ended up hurt. Maybe you were made to feel crazy for sensing things no one else could see, so you silenced it. You tuned it out. You buried it beneath the noise of external voices. But here's the truth. Your inner compass never left. It's just been waiting for you to listen again. Breathe with me now, not just to relax your body, but to quiet the static. Place your hand over your chest. Feel that subtle pull within. That's the compass. That's your guidance. That's the ancient part of you that always knows which way is home. It doesn't speak in fear. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't scream for attention. It whispers. Always. And it will never lie to you. There's a golden thread running through your life. It shows up in signs, synchronicities, dreams, moments of deep knowing. That thread is not random. It's the language of your soul. And every time you followed it, even when it didn't make sense, you ended up where you needed to be. That thread is your path. And the compass is what helps you hold on to it in the dark. Let's speak the truth. You've followed your head too long. You've tried to fit into systems that don't recognize your language. You've made decisions that looked good on paper but felt wrong in your body, and it cost you something. Maybe peace, maybe joy, maybe time. But now you're ready to move differently. Now you're ready to trust the soft pull again. The way your stomach knots when something's off, the way your heart leaps when something is aligned. That is data, that is truth, that is divine intelligence. The problem isn't that you don't have intuition. The problem is you were taught to distrust it, taught that knowledge had to be earned, that truth had to be validated. But some things don't come through books. They come through the soul's ancient memory, through your body's reactions, through your dreams at night. And the more you slow down, the more you'll hear it. You've always known things without knowing how you knew. You've felt shifts before they happened. You've sensed endings before anyone said a word. You've walked into rooms and picked up energy like fingerprints. That's not paranoia. That's perception. That's prophetic awareness. And it's not going away. In fact, it's getting stronger. Why? Because your purpose requires it. Where you're going, logic won't be enough. You'll have to discern. You'll have to feel what's not being said. You'll have to read between the lines. You'll have to sense the shift before it shows up on the surface. Your inner compass isn't a luxury. It's a lifeline. And it's pointing you forward now. But you can't follow it with noise in your ears. You have to get quiet. Still. Clear. That's why isolation was necessary. That's why relationships ended. That's why distractions fell away. It wasn't punishment. It was positioning you to reconnect with your own voice. So you'd remember that what's inside you has always been more accurate than what's outside. Let me show you how it works. When you're in alignment, things feel expansive. Your body relaxes. Your breath deepens. Your energy flows. When you're out of alignment, you shrink. You clench. You delay. You feel a fog around your choices. Don't override that. Don't explain it away. Don't wait for permission to leave what no longer resonates. Your compass speaks in feelings, in patterns, in silence. It tells you when something's off, even if it looks perfect. It nudges you toward people who feel like light, even if you don't know why. It pulls you back when your head says go. It pushes you forward when fear says stay. And now more than ever, you're being called to trust it. Declare this now. I trust my knowing. I honor my compass. I follow the thread. Feel how your body reacts. Your soul rises when truth is spoken. Not because it's new, but because it's been waiting to be remembered. You don't need another expert. You don't need more advice. You need your own voice back. Chosen one, the days of doubt are over. You were made to move with sacred precision. You were made to hear the whisper and follow without needing proof. You were made to carry a wisdom that confuses the world because it doesn't come from the world. And now you remember. So from this moment forward, listen when your energy shifts. Pay attention when peace leaves. Notice who drains you, who inspires you, who feels like soul, and who feels like survival. Let your body speak. Let your dreams speak. Let your intuition take the lead. The compass is awake, and it's pointing you not just toward a new path, but toward the version of you that never stopped believing. You've returned to your knowing, the one they tried to silence, the one you buried to survive, the one that's rising now with power, clarity, and undeniable light. And with every step you take, that compass will get louder, not to direct your life from the outside, but to lead you home to the truth that's always lived inside. There comes a moment when the soul knows it's time, not because everything makes sense, not because all the pieces are in place, but because the inner world starts shifting in quiet, undeniable ways. The things that once excited you now feel heavy. The people you once clung to now feel distant. The roles you once wore proudly now feel too tight for who you're becoming. Chosen one. If you've been feeling this strange inner disconnection from your outer life, it's because your recall has begun. You see, the divine doesn't shout when it's time to move. It stirs. It rearranges your energy before it rearranges your circumstances. It causes you to withdraw, to lose interest in what once held your attention, to crave silence where you once needed noise. And all of this is sacred. It's not depression. It's not confusion. It's not failure. It's recall. The soul's quiet way of saying, "We've completed what we came here to do. Now it's time to rise." This recall doesn't always come with a loud announcement. Sometimes it feels like being emptied, like the flavor has left your life, like the curtain is falling and you're standing on stage, unsure what scene you're in, but that emptiness is holy. It's the divine dissolving what no longer serves your becoming. You're not being punished, you're being transitioned. The cycle you were in has fulfilled its contract. And now, the next assignment is whispering from just beyond the veil. Breathe with me now. Feel into the quiet, knowing that's been growing louder in you lately. The sense that something is ending, even if you can't name what. The feeling that something is beginning, even if it hasn't arrived yet. That space between the two is sacred ground. It's the threshold, the place where your spirit pauses, not to hesitate, but to honor what came before and prepare for what comes next. Let's speak this clearly now. Not everyone around you will feel this recall. Not everyone will understand why you're pulling back, why you're changing your rhythm, why you're no longer available for the things that used to define you. But your soul isn't asking for agreement. It's asking for obedience. And if you've been sensing this shift, you already know it's time to follow the pull, not the crowd. You might not have all the answers yet, but the questions are enough. The unrest is enough. The misalignment is enough. When your soul begins to rise, everything misaligned with it will start to feel like friction, not because it's wrong, but because it's finished. It served you. It shaped you. It prepared you. But now, it's complete. The contract has been fulfilled, and trying to stay past your time is like trying to breathe in a room with no oxygen. You were never meant to stay where you were. You were meant to grow, to evolve, to remember. And now the gate is opening. Not a physical one, but a spiritual one. A gate in the sky, a doorway in the heart. You can feel it. Even if your life hasn't caught up yet, your spirit has already begun walking toward it. That's why you feel torn between the old and the new. That's why you've been grieving things that haven't even left yet. Because on a soul level, you know, they're already gone. This grief is part of the recall. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of awareness. When you outgrow people, places, and roles, it doesn't mean you didn't love them. It means you loved yourself enough to honor what's finished. And that is power. That is maturity. That is spiritual obedience. Chosen one, you are not leaving things behind to run away. You are being recalled forward to rise. Your next level requires a different version of you, one that can't keep carrying what once comforted you in a different season. It's not betrayal to let go. It's alignment, it's timing, it's trust. Let me show you the beauty of this recall. It may look like endings, but it's really an invitation. A return to your original frequency, a deepening of your assignment, a remembering of your soul's true rhythm. And when you honor it, even when it's scary, everything begins to align again. Not always quickly, not always clearly, but deeply. You start to find people who feel like soul, doors that feel like destiny, timing that feels like grace. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. You're not who you used to be, and that's not something to fear, that's something to bless. Because becoming who you really are always requires shedding who you no longer are. The shedding is not loss, it's liberation. And what's waiting for you on the other side of this shedding is not just a better life, it's your actual life, the one your soul signed up for. Say this now with your breath. I release what's complete. I trust the recall. I walk with the divine. Let it echo through your being. Let it silence the fear. Let it awaken the readiness that's been quietly growing inside you for months, maybe years. You don't have to know what's next. You only have to say yes to what's now. This recall is not for the faint of heart. It's not for those attached to comfort. It's for the brave, the ones willing to walk away without closure, the ones willing to rise without applause, the ones who feel the invisible pull and choose to follow it anyway. You are that brave soul. You've proven it in silence, in surrender, in stillness. And now, it's your time. The sacred recall has begun, and it won't be loud, but it will be holy. It won't be easy, but it will be exact. You'll find yourself at the right place, with the right people doing the right thing, and you won't even remember how you got there. Because the recall doesn't require maps, only trust. You are being summoned, not to run, not to escape, but to rise, to remember, to walk into the next expression of your destiny. And every cell in your body already knows it. You were built for this, you were prepared for this, and now you are ready. Let the old fall away. Let the gate open. The recall is real. The timing is divine. And the next version of your life is already unfolding. Chosen one, your spiritual delivery has arrived. You may not see it yet with your physical eyes, but your spirit already knows. You can feel the shift, subtle but certain, like the ground beneath your feet is humming with something ancient, something sacred, something that was always meant for you. This isn't just a new season. This is a divine dispatch, an activation, a sacred arrival. What you've felt lately, the urgency, the strange stillness, the feeling of being on the edge of something, has all been part of this moment. You haven't been waiting in vain. You've been aligning, you've been remembering, you've been reclaiming the version of you that this world could never erase. And now, the seal has broken. The delivery has reached you, not in the form of material alone, but in the form of wisdom, clarity, peace, presence, and divine awareness. The wealth you thought was delayed, it's here, but not just in money, in energy, in awareness, in spiritual authority. You are wealthy in the things that cannot be stolen, wealthy in discernment, in power, in divine connection. The purpose you cried out for in the dark, it's here. It's not just what you do, it's what you carry. The atmosphere you shift when you walk into a room, the the way your presence heals without trying, the way your very existence reminds others of the sacred and the power. It was never in titles or control. Your power is in your stillness, in your sensitivity, in your truth, in your ability to rise again and again without becoming bitter. That is divine power. That is kingdom frequency. That is why the warfare against you was so intense, because even the dark could sense what you were about to remember. You were trained in hidden places for a reason. You were kept quiet while the world screamed for attention, because your voice was not meant for noise, it was meant for alignment. You were never forgotten. You were being guarded, shaped, forged. And now, you are being released. There is no more delay. There is no more hiding. You've crossed the threshold. You've let go of what no longer fits. You've released what can't walk with you. And even if the world doesn't know it yet, you have changed. Spiritually, your energy is no longer in waiting. It is in receiving. You are no longer begging. You are becoming. You are no longer doubting. You are declaring. And every step you take from here is guided not by fear, but by knowing. You don't need all the answers to walk forward. You only need the alignment. The permission has already been given. The doors have already begun to open. The people you're meant to walk with are already being drawn to you, and the signs will follow your surrender. You don't have to push. Just walk. Just breathe. Just stay open. This was never about manifesting what you want. It was about remembering who you are. And now that you've remembered, everything begins to unfold. Not because you forced it, but because you became the version of you that could receive it. So take this moment to mark your arrival. Not the arrival of something outside you, but the arrival of your full self. Comment 1111 or 333 if you feel the shift in your bones. If you know something has been activated. If this message was the exact delivery your soul has been waiting to receive, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Chosen Soul Rising. Not because of algorithm or content, but because this is a spiritual sanctuary. Whenever the world gets too heavy, whenever you start to forget again, this space will be here, waiting to remind you, to anchor you, to guide you home to yourself. What comes next will not require you to prove anything. It will only ask that you remember. Remember your light. Remember your contract. Remember your power. You were chosen, not just to carry light, but to become it. And now that you've arrived, there's no going back. Only forward. Only deeper. Only higher. Your spiritual delivery has been received. Welcome home. Welcome to the remembering. Welcome to your becoming.